So, if you're a Gibson enthusiast, you are probably very interested in what you see me holding on to right here. So I have a really cool story for you guys about my most special guitar, which is right here. Buckle up. There are some scary moments along the way, so trigger warning ahead of time. Here we go. So the year was, I believe, 2006, maybe 2005. Actually, probably 2006. I had just started playing guitar. I was very new to it. My dad turned me on to the instrument. He had just played, was self-taught, showed me a few, basic open chords and power chords and stuff like that. And his main guitar was, I believe, an 81 Les Paul Custom in Silverburst. So Gibson was the first brand that I was really exposed to, as it would be for a lot of guitar players probably anyway. And I loved Silverburst. As you can see, this guitar is Silverburst, but we'll get to that. But I don't remember exactly when this happened, but I just knew at that time SGs were my favorite guitar. I had seen SGs, I loved them, they were what I wanted. I really wanted an SG. Now granted, I had just started playing the guitar, so I was not ready for a Gibson. But my dad wanted to give me the best gift possible, so I had this really cheap PV guitar from Toys R Us that I had been playing for around the first year of my playing, although my dad let me borrow his guitars anyway, so I don't even know how much I played the PV at that time. But he and I took a ride to a store on Long Island, which was called All Music. I'm not sure if it's still there, but they had a lot of cool, guitars that you may not find at a Guitar Center, at least at the time. And around this time, Gibson was doing something called the Guitar of the Month? Week? It was Guitar of the Month or Guitar of the Week. I think month. Week would be a lot. And basically what they did was every month or week, but we'll just say month for all intents and purposes, there was an exclusive Gibson guitar that you couldn't get anywhere else that was released for that month. And they were in very limited quantities. At the time, one of those guitars of the month was an SG Standard in Silverburst. But if you really know your stuff, you might be pointing out that this is not an SG Standard. And that's where this story gets very interesting. So me and my dad took a ride there, and we saw this guitar, and we saw other guitars of the month and stuff like that. We both knew that that was going on. But this guitar did not say Gibson SG Standard Guitar of the Month Silverburst. This said Gibson SG Goddess Silverburst. But it did say Guitar of the Month. But if you know your guitars of the month, this was not a Guitar of the Month. So let's add some context to the Goddess. Around this time period, Gibson also offered a Goddess version of the SG, an SG Goddess model, which was marketed towards feminine players, female players. They probably would get a lot of flack for that if they released it again these days. But it had, I believe, a thinner neck profile maybe than an SG Standard. The SG Goddess, I'm sure I'll have some pictures on screen for you guys. It had uncovered humbuckers, 2 control knobs instead of the 4 that you will find on an SG Standard. And I believe it also said Goddess on the truss rod cover. So as I'm saying this, you may notice that some of these things are consistent with the guitar I'm holding and some of them aren't. So in short, this guitar is a combination of an SG Goddess and an SG Standard Silverburst Guitar of the Month edition. And as far as I know, this is the only one of this guitar in existence. Let that sink in. I don't even want to be holding it right now, honestly. I'm like scared, even though I played it for years and stuff like that. So I actually did, many, many years ago, go onto Gibson's forums, and I made a forum post regarding the guitar to inquire whether, what is the story behind this guitar. Someone replied claiming to be from Gibson. At the time I believed it. I have no idea looking back. I'll have a picture of it for you guys if I'm able to find it, saying that, yeah, this was not supposed to exist. It's very special, so on and so forth. So basically, this is potentially some kind of factory error. They were making the Guitar of the Month SG Standard Silverburst, and somehow an SG Goddess got put through the paint for that, and then they also gave it the standard truss rod cover and covered the pickups. I don't know. Do you know? Let me know in the comments if you've ever seen anything like this, because for years I have scoured the internet looking for any other record of this guitar existing, and the only thing that ever shows up is the very forum post I made under the name Capital SG many, many years ago. So yeah, so I played this guitar. I love this guitar so much. This was my first like real guitar that I had back then. And this is where the trigger warning comes in, because sadly, like I said, I was not ready for a guitar of this quality. I was just a teenager and I didn't know how to properly take care of it, which is really unfortunate. At the time, I have scoliosis. I wore a back brace, and the back brace was over my shirt. So, well, I could wear it. I always wore an undershirt underneath it. And if I was going out, I would put a shirt on over it. But it sounds stupider as I say this out loud. But I did not wear a shirt over the undershirt, over the brace at home. Now, I wasn't that stupid. I figured, okay, well, it had like plastic pieces, nothing really metal sticking out of the brace. But I figured, okay, this could scratch my guitar. So I would put like a cloth stuffed into the brace to cover the parts that would be exposed. But I really wasn't paying attention, and over time, and I'll show a picture of it, which is hopefully blurry and doesn't show things very clearly, it definitely has scratched up the back of it a lot. And every single time I think about this guitar to this day, I think about it with regret in that regard. I also didn't clean the neck very much, and this is a painted neck, nitrocellulose finish. You need to take good care of them. And a lot of the dirt from my hands over the years when I didn't take care of it definitely wore away at some of the finish and has left some marks on it, which is, again, stuff that I really don't like to think about to this day, and has left this guitar in not as good condition as it could be. So if you're, new to guitars, you're not sure how to handle them, definitely take a lot of time to understand proper guitar maintenance and proper guitar care. You don't have to clean it every single time you play it. Some people will say you do, but just make sure that you're keeping up on that, especially if you have a guitar that's really expensive or really valuable, especially if it has a painted neck. That can make a big difference. And then there's something else that I did, which is even stupider to this guitar, although I don't think it's really made an impact. But remember, guys, I was a teenager. I was really stupid. You don't need to go in the comments saying I was stupid. I think about it all the time, okay? So a long time ago, I got this Jim Dunlop cleaning kit. I still have it. I still use it because a lot of the cleaning stuff in it just lasts for a really long time. And I've had other cleaners over the years, but I still have some of the key parts of this. And one of the things that cleaning kit comes with is it's like a really microfine, I would refer to it as a sandpaper. It's basically sandpaper, but it's so fine that you don't really feel the grit. And it's designed to polish your frets. And it actually does a really good job of it. I used it today. I just restrung it and cleaned this guitar today. And the frets, for the condition that they've been kept in and for the age of this guitar, it's well over 10 years at this point. I think they look pretty good. So yeah, good sandpaper. But at the time, somehow I didn't realize that when they say that you use that sandpaper for the frets, that the frets are referring to the frets, which is the fret wire, the metal thing. The metal thing is the fret. Somehow as a kid or as a teenager, I didn't really get that. And I always thought like, oh, you play the 5th fret, so my finger is here. It's on the space in between these two fret wires. So yeah, I definitely rubbed that sandpaper all over my fingerboard, which to my knowledge is raw ebony and pearl inlays. Sorry, me and you who had to hear that. But I don't think it actually did anything. But like, don't be a stupid idiot. Don't do that, definitely. Frets are the metal things, okay? I learned that a long time ago, but sadly a little bit too late before I had to do any of that. And yeah, that pretty much sums up the story of this guitar. As I got older, I learned to take better care of my guitars. I cleaned it up as nicely as I could. I've set it up nicely, and I don't play it much, but I do want to hang it on my wall now. which is also incredibly scary and probably pretty stupid, but otherwise it's just going to sit in the case, and what's the point of having something if you're not doing anything with it, right? So yeah, guys, just to wrap up this video, I wanted to thank a lot of you who have subscribed recently. My Ibanez warranty video seems to have done a lot better than I expected, and we're almost around 500 subs. Maybe by the time you're watching this, we will be at 500 subs. I usually just do this channel kind of for random stuff that I want to talk about with guitar stuff and everything. Don't really have any goals with it, but the fact that it's actually growing, 500 more subs, and I would be able to actually monetize this channel, which would incentivize me to put content on it a lot more. And if you like watching the kind of stuff that I put up, maybe you can help me do that. So I would appreciate it if you I would appreciate it if you subscribe, but that's up to you. And yeah, let me know in the comments also if you'd like to see more story videos like this. I have a lot of guitars, frankly more than I should have, and there's a unique story behind all of them, probably none as interesting or cool as this guitar, but I'd love to maybe just do a video where I talk about every single guitar and go through it, and I would love to make that. So thank you guys for watching. Let me know in the comments anything you have to say about this guitar, not about how I took care of it, but about the uniqueness of this guitar. If you know anything that I don't, I would love to know it. And no, it's not for sale.